Hello everyone. I want to talk about the movie Tar, starring Cate Blanchett, written, directed, and produced by Todd Field. This movie came out last September, and both the movie and Blanchett have been nominated for multiple awards: Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, Academy Awards, Oscars, etc. Now, this movie didn't do that well at the box office. According to Wikipedia, it made about $20 million worldwide, and the New York Times estimates it cost about $35 million, including marketing. So it probably lost money. But I want to make the case that you should watch this movie. Two questions. One, I say you should watch. The first question is why? I mean, if the movie lost money, Golden Globes and Academy Awards aside, that must mean people didn't watch, or at least not enough people. So why should you, if no one else did? And two, I have read and seen multiple reviews of Tar, and here I sit making one myself. Why should you be interested in yet another review of a movie not many people watched? I think the answer to both questions has a lot to do with the way we think about this movie, what we think the movie is actually about. Now, a few words on the plot, which in my mind is the least important aspect of this movie. The main character, Lydia Tarr, is a famous and ultra successful orchestral conductor. Now, in case you don't know, the conductor is the person who stands on the podium in front of the orchestra and directs or leads the musical performance. Now, Lydia Tarr is at the top of her game: international career, prestigious orchestral engagements, multiple recordings, one-on-one interviews, book deals, money, private jets, everything. People bend over backwards just to get a moment or a word of advice from her. Now, as the story progresses, we find out that Lydia has been having multiple affairs with her young female conducting proteges. Well, one of those former proteges, as a result of Lydia ending the relationship, ghosting her, and sabotaging the young woman's career, ends up committing suicide. The affairs are eventually discovered, and Lydia loses everything as a result. Now, when people talk about this movie, they often bring up subjects like gender, abuse of power, identity, cancel culture. They say that this is what this movie is all about. Lydia is a woman in the male-dominated field of orchestral conducting. The movie's about gender. Lydia regularly uses her position and notoriety to sleep with her students. Abuse of power. There's a scene where Lydia is teaching a conducting class at a major music school, and one of the students admits he's not interested in studying the music of Bach, probably the greatest and most influential composer in the history of classical music, because he was a white, male, cis misogynist. Identity, right? And toward the end of the movie, when the truth about the affairs and what she's been doing with her students starts to come out, Lydia loses her job, she loses her marriage, her friends walk away, everything. Cancel culture. But to me, this movie is not really about any of those things. Yes, the plot deals with those subjects. But what makes this movie so great, and the reason I think you should watch it, is that it is the most accurate depiction of the world of a classical music performing artist I have ever seen, both their internal and external worlds. This movie is a character piece, an exploration and examination of the classical music artist on the one hand, and the classical music world in which he or she operates on the other. Which leads to why I'm sitting here in front of this camera talking to you. When we think about artists, our favorite singer or soloist or band or entertainer, when we go to their shows and see them perform, or when we read about them or watch an interview of them, we're fascinated about their lives, what they eat for breakfast, their workout routine, what they do when they're not on stage, what they think about. We want to know how they did it. I mean, they're on stage performing to adoring fans. They made it. Look, lots of us strummed the guitar when we were kids. We didn't become John Mayer. Lots of us play wrestled with our friends in the backyard. We didn't become The Rock. And we have all told a joke or two. We didn't become Dave Chappelle. We want to know how the magic works. We're drawn to it. And I suspect the reason is because we dream of creating just a little bit of that magic in our own lives, around the things that we do. What this movie does so well is that it gives a window into the mind, heart, and world of the classical music artist. Their thoughts, their emotions, fears, motivations, what they love, what they hate, what they want, and who they think they are. I am a professional classical music artist. I've played in symphony orchestras for close to 30 years. I studied at one of those music schools they mention in the movie. I know this world, its bright spots and dark places. This movie has captured that. It is a window through which you can see how the magic works in all its complexities. But it doesn't hold your hand. So, what's needed is a guide, someone who knows the world, someone who can help you understand what you're seeing through the window. I'd like to be that for you. When I had the bright idea to review this movie, I thought I'd watch it once or twice, make the video, and call it done. I didn't realize how deep it was or how much there would be to say. So I think I'm going to make a couple videos about this movie. In the next one, I'm going to take some key scenes and really break down what's happening in them. Not from a plot standpoint, but with the goal of more deeply understanding the world it's depicting, the internal world of the artists in those scenes, and the larger music world those artists create. But a little bit here. As I said earlier, this movie does not hold your hand. It spends no time explaining itself. From the very beginning, you are nailed with, drowned in, deep references to the real-life classical music world. It is the ultimate inside baseball. Within the first minute, you get a laundry list of famous classical artists, top music ensembles, respected institutions and organizations in the field, and a description of a career path that would elicit the most awe and respect from people in this professional world. At the same time, we get a montage of our main character, fidgeting as she prepares to walk on stage, being dismissive of her personal assistant, being fitted for her tailor-made business suits. Nearly the whole movie's like this. You feel like you're viewing the main character through a magnifying glass. She interacts with the external world as though it matters, but she's actually living her life in her own head. By the way, Cate Blanchett is amazing in this. All the acting is really great. This movie is nearly 3 hours, but I didn't feel like it was long or drawn out at all. Now, for all the praise I've been lavishing on this, the movie isn't perfect. Toward the end, world building starts to take a backseat to plot drama. There's an extremely unrealistic scene where the main character, dressed in full formal wear, storms onto the stage in the middle of a concert and in front of the entire orchestra and audience physically assaults the person on the podium that she feels is taking her position. At this point in the story, the orchestra has completely severed ties with her, which means she would never have been able to get past security to get backstage. And even if she had, she would have been seen. So she never would have made it to the stage in the middle of a concert to attack someone. This is where the movie becomes just a movie. How could you pass up the chance to have your main character get into a fight on stage? She feels like her position has been taken from her, and she wishes she could lash out and punish the people responsible. All along, this movie has been willing to confound and confuse its audience for its world building. So at the very end, to switch to exaggerated dramatization just for effect, it felt quite jarring to me. But again, this movie is great for the most part. I suppose the creators can be forgiven. If you're interested in watching my next video about the movie Tar, or if you want to watch any of my other videos about music, viola playing, or art in general, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when I post another video. Thanks for watching.